Can you even giving Todd Marshall the weekend off? Squad mentality, Mitch Georgiades comes in, or is it just training?
Nah, that's just captain's run training for us. Everyone gets through today, we'll be okay. Our change will be Hamish will come into the team, and obviously you've seen Riley, he won't play. I can guarantee you he won't be out there playing. So Hammer will come in and play, and all things being equal, we'll take the field.
So why is Riley Bonner on crutches for a hamstring?
Oh, it's extra precaution as much as anything. It's nothing more than, it's not going to make the injury any longer. We said it's a nasty hamstring injury. It's a 4 to 6 week injury probably, but we're just taking a bit of caution by getting the weight off the leg for the first few days.
Just he's going to play? You look like he's a different kid and.
No, he's fine. He's out there. He's doing what they do on captain's run. The hard part of us, I always say this when we do the captain's run meeting, is that I think there was now 13 blokes in our captain's run non-active group on captain's run. So it's hard for me to sit up here every week and try and confirm or deny that they're in or they're out. Everyone waking up well tomorrow, they'll be playing.
Just the one change then?
Yeah.
And do you rotate your sub?
No, we'll make that decision tomorrow again. We've named our emergencies and we'll leave that, because we get the flexibility now right up to the last hour to nominate who the sub will be. We'll look at that and come up with a decision then.
Ken, when you hear a lot of rumbling and challenges to Essendon, people being critical of the way in which they're delivering or not delivering, do you feel as if you have to be on edge as a team yourself because what happened with North Melbourne, a bad start, could cost you this time as well?
No, I disregard the part about Essendon because I focus on our club and what we need to do, and the opposition this week is Essendon. I get that, but we need to focus in on clearly what we do. And you're right, our start last week wasn't where it was we'd like it to be. We'd like to make sure it's better than that, but the opposition also play a part in that. And for us, we just need to make sure we're ready to go against whoever it is we play. And this week it is Essendon, and we'll be at our best here at home. Really, really important that we're back here at home for us, and we're at Adelaide Oval, and we're going to have some members and fans here to cheer the boys on.
It's always a nerve-wracking time probably for players coming up against their former side. Do you talk to Orazio about that, or is he old enough to be able to deal with it?
Yeah, I don't think your age probably gives you any outs. I think it just makes you a bit nervous. It's against your former teammates. We've seen it enough now in the game. The game's so much more used to player changing clubs, and Orazio's reasons to leave Essendon wasn't because he's unhappy so much with Essendon. It was more about wanting to be home with his family, and I think he's made that quite public. Essendon totally understand that, but I'm sure that they won't want him to do well, and we do want him to do well. So it'll be an interesting outcome for him and for us by the end of the night.
I know Matty Lloyd was quite strong and said they should get stuck into him, rough him up. Do you say to Charlie and a few others, make sure you look after the little man?
No, I don't have to say anything. They'll look after him. They'll be fine. They'll be out there. He's part of us. I just said, we talk about bond and the connection that we have as a group. Orazio's part of that bond and connection.
Orazio said he had some notes that he took from Essendon that might be interesting to you, weren't they, in the end?
Yeah, I certainly don't want to let him leave Port Adelaide because he is a very big note taker, and he understands the game really well. His detail is sharp, but stuff changes all the time. I mean, they've effectively had a coach change, and Ben's coaching the team in his own right now. They've got different coaches there, so they'll be different straight away. We lose players from our club every year, and every club does. You've still got to just play at the level that and Essendon will know how they play. We've got to make sure we play at our level.
52-point win after 2 big wins in pre-season. Is it really telling you what your form is or what your team can do, or are you still waiting to be tested?
It was accurate for the moment. It's accurate at the moment, and that is that we're in good form and we're playing really strong football. We're a challenge for the teams that we've come up against so far to be able to hold us and slow us down for long enough. And we understand that we didn't get every part of every game right. Always the coach, you're always looking for better, and we want to be better. And we know that if we don't continue to improve this year, that we will get beaten. We will lose games consistently. We don't want that to be the case. But right now, our form is really strong and really consistent.
So where are you challenging them specifically to improve at the moment?
Our boys, there's always things that we're looking for, and I think the game's challenging them enough without too much of the opposition. The speed of the game is clear. It's obvious to everyone that's watching it now, and I think teams are playing the new rule a little bit harder than they probably need to at times. I think they're just enjoying the freedom, a little bit of offence, and if we're not ready, we know that we can cause some problems with our offence, but we also know that by the end of the day there's a balance in the game, and you've got to have your balance right, and for us to make sure we've got good balance in defence, good balance of the contest, and let our offence then take over, we'll be okay. But we've just got to make sure our challenges are always there in front of our minds, and that is we're a complete team, not a part team.
Given the speed that you have up in your forward line, do you feel like Port Adelaide can really benefit from what you've seen in the first round and a bit so far?
I think collectively every team's got speed at some point, and they can all challenge it. And I think there's no doubt we've got some high forwards who have got some real speed, and we've got good balance in those players. But I think every team, if you look through every team, I mean, the team we're playing tomorrow, they've got as many wheels as anyone as far as coming with speed. So speed won't be your only factor. I think it's game style, it's connection to the game style that you put together as a collective, and that will be the bigger factor, and that allows the speed to come out, I think, eventually.
Miles did enough for you, Kenny, obviously. Miles did enough. Would you like?
I like.
To work on?
Well, I think he's had the longest wait for almost the first game for a player who I've seen a lot of players. He's been capable of playing AFL football. I think at some point last year we played a really strong season last year. It was challenging. There was no games often for him to show what he could do. I thought it was really good that he's had a good pre-season. He's played the couple of trial games. He's played round one, and he's going to get another opportunity tomorrow. We think he's got a long and successful career ahead of him.
So Miles staying in and Hamish coming in. Does someone else have to move around a bit and play a bit more time on the wing, or how does the back rotation change?
Yeah, that's exactly what I mean. It's pretty obvious that Riley played mainly wing last week. We'll play someone who's going to play a little bit more wing, and we'll mix and match a little bit with what we talked a lot over the pre-season about having players who have got multiple roles that they can play. We're really comfortable that we can put a number of people in different positions and they can be successful in those positions. So that's a good thing about having the flexibility in your team.
And it sounds like
Hamish said now he's sort of 30. He had a pretty difficult summer. He started to question whether he was up to it, where he fit in the pecking order. Did you talk to him about that at all as the vice captain of the club?
Oh no, he's Hammer's a warrior at the best of times. I think he's always, he's always had challenges with his body, and that's, and as you get older, they probably become a little bit more real for him. They sit right in front of his mind and go, okay, well, what's going on? How am I going to get through this? All I can say is he's had a great preparation as far as coming. We nearly could have played him last week, and we didn't. We gave him some time to make sure he was, because I think mentally he just needs to make sure he's right in himself, and I think we look forward to seeing a pretty impressive Hamish Hartley. It's not that long ago, I remember a game here at Adelaide Oval against Geelong, I think in a final, that he just dominated the game probably 3 games ago, so he can still play footy. He should trust himself a little bit more, but that's Hammer.
Well, it's a pretty unique situation to have your vice captain wondering where he fits and whether he's in the best 22.
I think you'd be amazed at how many people and how many players always question, are they in the team or they're not in the team. That's, again, the strength of our squad would suggest that you've got to be in really good form to be a part of the team at the moment, and it's probably, from my point of view, it's a good thing that they have a little bit of edginess about them.
Have you seen a player adapt better to a group than what Ellis seems to have done?
Well, he's playing the role that really well that we wanted him to play, and we identified for him to play for us, and I think we've just recognised a great strength of Ellis, and Jason, this management have gone, if we're looking for the intercept type defender, we think Ellis is the person who's got all the weapons that we want. He intercepts the ball well, he turns it into offence quite quickly. He's enjoying his time in Adelaide. He's got an amazing story that, we just want, hopefully, that we can play a part in writing another chapter for his story.
We all kind of think, everyone kind of looks and goes, why did Sydney let him go? I mean, every time he keeps playing, it seems to be the questions start to, keep ramping up a bit more.
Yeah, there's lots of decisions that go into why some things happen at football clubs, and I know John well, and I know John really rates Ellis, so there's not an issue there. So it's more around some of the other challenges that come into balancing a list and building a list. And I reckon what I seen last week with Sydney, they're pretty happy with their list too, so they're going okay.
There's a lot of other coaches around the league with their subs in the first week pick younger boys, inexperienced boys. You sort of went the other way. How'd you go telling someone that's played 200 games that he's going to be a medical sub?
I think the part of that is you're part of the team. It's and I get with a sub in the past used to be almost a nightmare for the coach to tell the player. But I think that if you're a part of the group and you're part of the squad, for us it's accepting your role and playing your role. And Rock's got absolute incredible football intelligence and he understands the game really well. I thought he was almost the perfect sub for us, as in we hope we don't have to use a sub, because that means injury, that means harm to a player. We don't want that to be the case. But what I did know is by having him there, his ability to educate and understand the game from ground level would be helpful for his teammates. So I thought it was pretty simple. But we went with the model of next best, and next best was clearly Rock.
Should it count as a game if you don't step foot on the turf?
Not my decision. Sorry, it's not up to me to make those. We've had all those conversations. My decision is to play within the rules provided by the AFL, and we did that.
He said yesterday that he'd been wandering past your office a few times this week to say, geez, the quarter and a half I played was pretty good. Been in your ear?
Rock's always in everyone's ear, so don't worry about just being me. He's in everyone's ear. Ask Chris Davies, ask Robbie Gray, ask any of his teammates. He's always in his ear. He never shuts up, to be honest. But we love him, and we love having him a part of our footy club. And there'll be opportunities, and the right opportunities will be there soon.
Kind of rosy close, Ken?
Yeah, unfortunately, too close was my issue. I just got teased a bit, to be honest. You see him do what he can do, but we've made a call based on the recommendation of surgeon. If you ask Connor, if I stood here in front of him, he'd say, "Why aren't you picking me? I'm ready to play." We're making decisions based on long term, and that is to be, for one more week, be safe with his wound and stuff, and let him play the next week.
And Trent getting closer, or still a bit further for him, Trent Mckenzie?
No, well, Trent only had his first game back last week, and the Maggies will play again tonight, and we expect him to play pretty strong footy, and he'll be nice and hungry to play, I'd imagine.
Kenny, it seems like the coaching group, by and large, is overwhelmingly in favour of being able to trade a player without their consent, against their will, I suppose. Do you have a position on whether you'd like to trade someone like an American-style sort of system?
Yeah, again, if I go back to I always like to operate in what I have to do and what are the rules that I have to operate under, and I'd rather know what the rules are, and I'll just operate within those rules. I get close, as every club does and every player and every coach does. I think with all your players, there's always a difficult time when it comes to making moves on players, and I think there's some understanding that that's both ways. That's from the club and that's from the player. It's never easy, and I think the consensus is if you can work with the player and you can get to an outcome that you want, you just got to play it that way. I think I'd rather play a little bit, you're in this conversation, not just us.
So I think it was 80% of coaches said they'd be happy for that model to come in. Did you do a survey? Would you be happy to tell us which way you
I'd have to check my survey response for you.
Can who's undervolved, players or coaches, to stop blitzes like the one you did last week when you go on an 8-goal run and you get momentum?
No, it's players. It's players' challenge. They're out in the grass. We guide, and every coach says it regularly for you. I think that game day we've got most of our stuff done that we get done, and that's Monday to Friday, and hopefully the team's well armed to execute when they get out there. But when a run comes against you, the players know what they're trying to do and what they're trying to achieve. So I think clearly they have the biggest say in whether they can stop that.